Welcome back. To another episode. I want to talk about the Odyssey. I want to talk about why it's important to us still. Because the Odyssey is a story about a hero named Odysseus who fought in the Trojan War, the Greeks. And he was like the strategist, the stratagem. He was the guy that would plan everything. And he was the one who planned the Trojan horse and that was the thing that made them win the actual war, by killing everybody at night, by sneaking in with the wooden horse. And he has a whole book all about himself going back home after the war. And it's interesting because none of the other people have that. And on the way back, it's a 10-year journey, because for about 7 years, he gets trapped by this one lady named Calypso, who was like holding him there hostage. And he finally got free once the gods intervened and said, hey, you have to let him go. Yada, yada, yada. A bunch of stuff happened, right? But it just made me realize about coming back home or returning from your original journey. Like, a lot of us set out on journeys and we get to the point where we want to be. But a lot of times we don't know how to maintain ourselves there. Like, say exercise, for example. Once you get to a good, consistent routine, you have to maintain it. You have to hold that routine. If you don't hold that routine, you're literally gonna go back to your former self, and in a bad way. You're gonna go back to the person you were before that. See, the thing about the story that teaches us is everything he learned from that journey, he used it to his advantage and brought it home with him. He brought a piece of the island he was trapped in with him. He brought a piece of the strategies he used with the Cyclops back with him. He took everything, kept it, maintained it, preserved it, and went back home. So he accomplished 2 journeys at once. Once we get to our destination, we have to focus on going back home. It made me think about why we even still read the books from the past, why we still even look at, ancient texts. We don't know how old all these old books are. This one's like from way back then, written in Greek. And it just made me think about, like, why are they important? Why do they matter? Why do we always look to the past? Obviously we could try to predict the future, but that's not something that's set in stone. That's all predictions. But when we look to the past, we learn from the people that were here before us. We learn from the people who are older than us, more experienced and wiser, and they lived their lifetime. While our lifetime is different, you can still learn a lot of great things from what they have learned throughout their journeys. So, same thing with Odysseus. On his way back, he learned from all the people that he was encountering, and he used that to his advantage. So every journey helped him get a little bit further, just like how we use the wisdom from older people to propel forward, right? What we learn from the people from the past help us go to the future. They always say history repeats itself, and it's true. If you look at everything, it always repeats itself. War always happens again. Fights always happen again. Love and divorce happen again, or just love in general happen again, and people get happily married. And there's certain patterns. War happens because X and X. Divorce happens because X and X. And if we look back and see why those things happen in the first place, we can learn how to prevent them. Or we can learn how to live a better life. Maybe not live so negative, like, how do we prevent it? But instead be like, how can I achieve that better alternative than the other alternative? So that's why I think a lot of these stories are still relevant today. That's why I think people still love listening to podcasts. People love listening to music, because I feel like when you're young, you listen to all the lyrics word for word and you're obsessive with it because it's just something so new to you and you just want to absorb it all, and you learn from the people you look up to. There was a moment where I was obsessed with looking at interviews from people that I looked up to. Just hearing their mindset, seeing what makes them tick, seeing what makes them get their gears going in the morning. And it just made me realize that everyone is different, and you got to find that thing that's yours. And if you listen to all the people and you try their ways of living, you can see which one works best for you, and then you could apply that to yourself. And doing so, finding directly from them how to do it, you end up not wasting a lot of time, because you're like, okay, I'm gonna try this very specific pattern, rather than free roaming and just experimenting with everything around you. So that's why I think the book is still relevant today. It teaches us to look to our past, to seek wisdom, honestly, to become the same person we are on our journey back home from accomplishing our mission. Going to there is a mission in itself. Doing the mission is also another mission. But people always forget about the journey back home. The journey back home is probably just as important, if not more important, is what the book teaches us than the other two missions, the going and to accomplish the war. So I don't know. That's just something I've been thinking about. Something that's on my mind. I thought I'd make a video about it. You know what you guys think, any feedback, any reasons why you think the Odyssey is still an important book. If you haven't checked it out, I might make a video on it talking about like breaking it down really, because it's something you could read easily, but not a lot of people are going to take the time out of their day. Like me, honestly, back before I was reading all these books, I would have loved for someone to just literally break down the book, you know, chapter for chapter, so I could just kind of read it without having to read it and being entertained. Kind of like an audiobook. You could just be cooking and whatnot and then have the book. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. Bye.